continuing our special series of In Conversation with Tibet TV, where we shed spotlight on guests from Offices of Tibet worldwide to learn how they are embracing the Year of Compassion, honoring His Holiness the Dalai Lama. We're joined online from London by Tenzin Kunga, Secretary of the Office of Tibet, London. Welcome to the program, Kungala.
Thank you, Zambala, for having me.
Kungala, could you tell us how many members serve on the Regional Kodun Committee for UK? And although the overarching theme of the celebration is tied to the life and legacy of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is the Office of Tibet London emphasizing a particular facet of his legacy?
We have a UK Kodun subcommittee, and we have more than 10 members on the subcommittee. This UK subcommittee has been constituted to celebrate the 90th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, which has been dedicated as the Year of Compassion by the Central Tibetan Administration. And in this regard, this UK subcommittee is trying to dedicate and focus on the four principal lifelong commitments of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And the main theme of all our activities is centered around compassion, being compassionate and being kind to others.
Right. So then could you share some of the main activities or initiatives that the Office of Tibet London has undertaken so far in honor of the Year of Compassion?
Office of Tibet London has been an integral part of the UK Godin celebrations, which happened in July. We had this grand celebration at the Tibetan Peace Garden, which was inaugurated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama in 1999. And one of the specialities of this was that the Tibetan communities from across the UK gathered in this one place at the Tibetan Peace Garden. And we also had our Tibet supporters, and we also had representatives from other groups like the Hong Kongers, the Uyghurs, Chinese students joined together in celebrating His Holiness Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. And we had important guests like the mayors of two London boroughs, and we also had a important member of the UK Parliament join us and speak about the aspirations of the Tibetan people for freedom. And he underlined the Parliament's support for Tibet's self-determination. So I think that really struck a chord with not just the Tibetans, but also all the Tibet supporters there. And as part of the Godin celebrations, the Office of Tibet also organized a special screening of Wisdom of Happiness, the most recent film where His Holiness the Dalai Lama advises the younger generation, especially about the importance of universal responsibility, compassion, kindness. So we were able to bring this special screening to a cinema in London, where we had about 150 audience members, not just Tibetans, but also mostly new audience, trying to reach out to a new audience and bring this message of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to the new audience. And besides this, along with the UK Godin subcommittee, there are a series of events planned up for, if I can speak, in the next 4 months. We have tree sampling plantation, 90 tree samplings which are being planted in the north of England. This will be in November because that's a season when it's ideal for planting. So there will be 90 tree saplings that will be planted, and the Tibetans and the Tibetan supporters are being part of this tree planting. And then if you look at the end of this month, we have the Tibetan community in Britain's annual summer picnic, and we are terming this as the Godin Summer Picnic. And as part of this celebration at the picnic, we will also have a special screening of Wisdom of Happiness, because as of now, we have more than 200 Tibetan family members registered to attend this, with a lots of youngsters. So we thought that it will be a nice occasion where the youngsters could be, shown a screening of this Wisdom of Happiness. And then in the coming month, in September, we are being informed about important visits by Reverend Rinpoches. So we will be using their visits to request them to speak about one aspect of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's principal commitments, and and engage the young Tibetan generation with this important message. And one of the unique things that the UK Goten subcommittee is planning to do next month is to have an event at a prestigious university in London where there will be non-Tibetan experts who will be coming together to talk about the Tulku system and the reincarnation and the limits of the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese government's authority, which they falsely claim that they have the authority. So these non-Tibetan experts will dissect that topic and will have audience members in there. And this will be a way of, trying to inform the public about the experts' opinion about this Tulku system and how this is very much an integral part of Tibetan Buddhism and how an atheist regime is trying to claim ownership over it falsely. And then in October, we have the Tibet House Trust, which is the charity wing of the Office of Tibet. It does an annual talk series every year. And this year, we are going to focus on the theme of compassion. And we will have a very special guest come over to the UK, especially to talk about His Holiness the Dalai Lama's legacy. But the underlying theme will be how to be a compassionate individual in this otherwise, widely conflicted world. And then in November, Office of Tibet and the Tibet House Trust, we are together hosting Professor Robert Thurman from the US. And we are organizing a talk for him in the UK Parliament, where the audience will be the Westminster audience, as in the members of Parliament and the peers who are there in the Parliament and the new audience there, and trying to inform them, first thing, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is celebrating the 90th birthday and how active he is at this age. And also at the same time, through Professor Thurman's experience and his friendship and his bond with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, explain about the four principal commitments with the underlying theme of how dialogue is very important to resolve conflicts rather than go in the violent path. So these are some of the things which we have lined up, and we are going to make use of the occasions like the Tibetan Democracy Day, which is coming next month, and then the Nobel Peace Prize Day, which will be coming in December. We're going to use these occasions also to kind of make the point that the year of compassion is very important, and that His Holiness the Dalai Lama's key messages, be it on humanity, be it on universal responsibility, be it on the preservation of environment. So all of these will be highlighted, during these important days.
Right. So we are very much looking forward to the line of events, the exciting events that you have so far. So coming back to the events you have had in the past, like the documentary screening and then the gatherings with Member of Parliaments and diplomats, what has been the response like?
Oh, the response has been very good. We have received emails from those people who attended these events saying that this has been a great gathering. The festival, the atmosphere was really very energetic, and there was a lot of things about Tibet that they learned.
Right. So with all these events that the Regional Khodun Committee of UK hosted so far, how do you envision these events creating a long-term influence of His Holiness's core messages on the people of UK, and then in doing so fostering a deeper connection with them?
I think it's very important to have these kind of events, even though we try to do events throughout the year, but doing it on a special occasion and having this theme of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's legacy, if you like, his commitments, and speaking about his consistent messages. I think this is really very important. And when we do these kind of huge, big kind of events, it helps in bringing the message to a new audience. And one thing that we did as part of this huge celebration was we also invited the media to come and be part of it. And through this media as well, we were able to reach out to a new audience. For example, we had the AFP video journalists come and cover the event.
It's a grand celebration, celebration of His Holiness the Dalai Lama's 90th birthday. It's a huge milestone. It's a day of celebration, joy, and also, like I said in the beginning, His Holiness, a global icon of peace who has touched so many lives all around the world.
Number two is BBC Radio sent a journalist to cover the program, and this was Rani Singh, the journalist, and she did about 7-8 minutes of piece about the entire day celebration, and this reached a wide audience because BBC Radio has lots of listeners. And besides this, during this year's 90th birthday celebration, since we had spread the word out that this is a very important year, we are celebrating as the year of compassion. There has been some media interest, I must say, and the BBC World Television reached out to the Office of Tibet, and I was able to go there and do a live interview I think it was on the 5th of July, and they gave me a slot of, say, about 5-6 minutes, which is huge for a primetime television. And at the same time, BBC Radio also did a series of interviews on the 6th of July, where they had the radio jockeys calling in from different parts of England. And I did about 8-9 interviews over a period of 2 hours, 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning. So what I mean to say is, there has been an outreach to the wider audience, and through these opportunities where we get to speak about the 90th birthday of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and his contributions to humanity, we are able to at least inform a new audience and also, try to plant some seeds of discussion among the people about His Holiness the Dalai Lama and his contributions.
Right. So Kungala, since there are Tibetans born or raised in the UK, how does your office incorporate them into these celebrations, or do you plan to have any events focused on them to keep them connected to the Tibetan roots?
If you look at the young Tibetans here in the UK, we have this thing called the Voluntary Tibet Advocacy Group, and we have a UK national coordinator who is doing an excellent job trying to bring in all the Tibetans together, especially the youth. And if you look at the Tibetan community in Britain, the democratically elected community organization, which I spoke about in the beginning, they have a council member who is dedicated solely for reaching out to the young audience. It's called the Youth Coordinator. So together with the WTAC and the Youth Coordinator and the office, we are trying to engage with the youth all the time. Recently, we had Kong Sikyong visit the UK, and there was a segment where we had his interaction with the Tibetan youth. So the youth is a very important demographic that we are targeting, and we are trying to get this message across that they are the important, heritage bearers of this very precious tradition, the Tibetan Buddhist civilization, historical tradition. So they are also aware of this, and they take part in all of these events. And the Office of Tibet in London, we have been, ever since we had the new representative, we are trying to do this Tibetan students workshop for university level students, trying to engage them and to tell them that it's very precious time that they spend in the universities while doing their undergraduate and master's degree, and how they can use that important time to educate their fellow students about Tibetan history, about Tibetan culture. So we have planned a 2-phase workshop, and the first phase of the workshop was already done, and now the second phase of workshop will be happening next month, because in September most of the students go to the universities, the schools reopen here. So ahead of that, we want to bring them all together at the Office of Tibet and engage them in the second phase of the workshop, where we will be talking about the Year of Compassion, of course, but we will also be asking them to look for avenues where they can raise Tibet, where they can speak about Tibetan culture, Tibetan food.
Right. So, Mungala, given that this is a year-long tribute, and that your office has hosted multiple events so far, how does the Office of Tibet London or the Regional Kudung Committee of UK secure fundings for all these activities and events?
Yes, that's a very important question that you raised, because if you want to do any kind of events, the funding becomes very crucial. And here at the UK Gothen subcommittee, up until now, we have done at least 2 fundraising events. I can recall that. One event we did it as a cultural show, a cultural presentation. We booked a venue, invited people to join in and raise some funds. That's number one. And number two is we had a summer picnic in the park where we asked the members to come in and, we sold some merchandise and things like that. So yes, merchandise sales becomes a very important element of our fundraising. And earlier I talked to you about the Wisdom of Happiness special screening that the Office of Tibet done. And as part of that, we were also able to raise some funds. And we will also be reaching out to some individual donors, if you like, organizations, informing them about the significance of this year and try to get funds from them. But I think it is mostly individuals, donating and trying to contribute their best towards this successful of this Year of Compassion events.
Right. So thank you, Kungala, for joining Tibet TV today.
Thank you so much, Sumbala, for having me. Thank you.
And then we're also looking forward to the line of events you have in the future.
Sure, definitely. This will all be there on Tibet.net and Office of Tibet London's Facebook page. Yes, thank you so much.
That is all for this episode of In Conversation with Tibet TV. I will see you in the next one.